Hold on.
What?
Our day is not over just yet.
Woohoo! USA!
We have an action-packed hour for you 6 p.m. drivers.
Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Matt Skraby wraps up a full day of live and local sports talk.
And that is the whole problem with aliens. You just can't trust them. Occasionally you meet a nice one, but usually they turn out to be some kind of big lizard.
The Skraby Show starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hello and welcome into the Skraby Show for March 12th, 2025. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining Frank as well. He's here in studio with me. It's so nice when honestly, I love when Frank's in here because it makes my life a lot easier. And I didn't want you to put a heart, or you did the little put your hands under your chin face, but I sometimes forget it's Wednesday. It feels like Friday this week for some reason. And so Adam came in here at 4 something, and we were just chatting, and he goes, "Oh yeah, well, Frank will be in later tonight." And I was like, "Oh, he is going to be here tonight." Yes. I was so excited because I was kind of dreading doing this thing by myself tonight because there's not much news to talk about, but we will get into stuff. How are you, Frank?
I'm doing good, Skraby.
Right.
Very happy to be here on this Wednesday evening.
Oh, that is nice. Yeah, it definitely feels like a Friday. As I said, I don't know why. It feels like this week has been going on forever. But we're not at spring training like Sammy left. I think at this point, everybody is ready to go home. It's been a month now, almost. And it seems like it's been longer, to be honest. I spent the longest I've ever spent at spring training was 4 days, and that was a lot. It's a lot of work. And so I appreciate Sammy Lev. I appreciate Tony and Jesse and Dave Marcus for what they do. But I'm not jealous at all. I'm not jealous that they're out there in Arizona every day, every single day. We're going to talk about the baton incident with a high school track athlete. We're going to talk about ex-athletes trashing current players. We kind of sort of talked about it earlier with Shaq and Charles Barkley. Lamborghini has released a product that I don't know that anybody asked for, and I'll tell you what that product is. Also, we are going to talk about something serious having to do with Le'Veon Bell. He is in some trouble, and he is he just can't stay out of trouble. And the allegations are very serious, so I don't want to make a joke about it. But I will say that when I was at the Super Bowl Radio Row in Minnesota, Frank, I've told this story before, but I was sitting at the table and our little Radio Row table, and Le'Veon Bell comes walking by, and I'm like, "Whoa, that's Le'Veon Bell!" And he's eating French fries. And as he passes my table, he looks at me. I look at him. He puts the empty container of French fries on my table with ketchup all over it and just walked away like I was the trash table. Again, I know that that's just a joke, and what we're going to talk about is very serious. But if you just randomly put your trash on someone's table while they're sitting there, it kind of tells me something about you.
Great sign of what kind of person you are.
Yeah. I will never forget the look I had on my face. I thought he put it down to maybe do an interview. Nope, I was the trash table. So that's what we'll talk about a little bit later. And something sad is happening in radio that I really need to talk about as a radio guy, as someone who grew up listening to radio, who loved AM radio. There's a station in San Francisco that is going off the air, and it's been on the air for over 100 years. So we'll talk about that at the end of the show. And then MLB on Fox posted something that has me very confused because they've made a hat for a team, but that team doesn't exist yet. I almost called you Sam, but that hat doesn't exist yet, Frank. We'll tell you, or the team doesn't exist is what I'm trying to say. We'll tell you about that a little bit later. But let's get into John Seidler for a second, because we really didn't know much about John Seidler before he took over or before he was named as the control person. So Kevin Acee put out a big article today on San Diego Union in the San Diego Union Tribune, and there's several things I want to talk about here because I think they're important for us as Padres fans to get to know John Seidler a little bit. One of the first quotes that stood out to me was this one quote, it's true that this isn't a role that I aspired to. Peter, when he was in the role, did an amazing job and was loved by the fans. I mean, I think you could look at every professional sport in every country, probably not find an owner that was loved by the fans the way Peter was, which I do agree. You find a lot of respect. You find people that appreciate, but love is a step beyond that. And Peter had a unique personality and a way of just executing his life of interacting with people. He was a natural for it. He deserved it. He earned it. Now, the thing that stands out to me is that he admits this is something that he never really wanted to do. He never wanted to be the control person of the Padres. And Chris and I talked about this a little bit earlier. It makes us feel better about this because this isn't something that his life's mission is to get to the control person of a team. This is something that he's doing. It to me that sounds like he wants to help his brother's vision live on. And I'm being serious about that. I am. I really do think that he is stepping in to kind of be the neutral person. There's three brothers, and he's going to be the guy who takes over the team, and he's going to be the neutral guy. John Seidler, he is. I'll stop right there. You had stuff going on in your face, Frank, when I was saying that.
You can definitely look at it that way. I mean, that's certainly a direction you can take that. It can also go the other way, which is he doesn't know, doesn't care to know, and is just going to do whatever he feels like is doing. I think, at least from what we've seen so far, I think the former is what's going on. I think he actually does care. I think he actually is trying to further what Peter was trying to do. But as far as which one it actually is, it's a little early to tell, I would say.
It is. I tend to be someone who I how do I describe this? I'm an untrusting, trusting person, if that makes sense. Like I don't want to trust people, but I do trust people.
Yeah.
And it burns me. Like I know in the back of my head, hey, don't trust this person. But then I convinced myself you could trust this person, and then I proved to myself that I shouldn't trust that person.
Yeah.
So I'm too trusting, maybe. And me believing in John Seidler after one article might be a little premature, I will say. But this is really the first time that he's done a sit down, and he's put his thoughts out there, and he wants to do exactly what the franchise has been trying to do: win a World Series, put together a team that is awesome each and every year, fighting for playoff spots. That's their first priority. Their second priority is the experience in the stadium. And I think they've done a great job with that. They know what they're doing down there at Petco Park with the events that they bring in. The third thing is the community. The Padres, since the acquisition by the family in 2012, they have increased their contribution from hundreds of thousands of dollars to $3.6 million over the time that they've been with the team. And I'm just happy that this is not as ugly as it seemed like it was going to be publicly, at least. It might be ugly behind the scenes. But at first, when we started talking about this stuff, I was thinking that this was going to dominate our conversation throughout the season, and it hasn't. And so, at least to this point. And so that's why I think I'm willing to accept this as something good and move forward with it.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. And it's nice to hear from the owner of the franchise. It's not a bad thing. Now, he also doesn't have to be a Jerry Jones either, where he's out in front of absolutely everything, because there are plenty of organizations who have no idea who their owner is as far as the fans are concerned. it's nice to have a happy medium where if something big happens within the organization, you have that leader, you have that person
You
that
have
you
the
can
point
see.
person.
Yeah. You have that person that you know is going to be there, but doesn't but lets everybody inside the organization do what they do. It seems as though that's been the way that they've decided to handle this so far, and that's a big applause for them.
Yeah, Dan on the chat is asking, is John the owner? No, he's not the owner. He is the control person of the Seidler Family Trust. Now, let me see if there was a part of this, and I didn't put it aside because I didn't think we were going to talk about it, but there's like rules about being a trust and how you have to, they basically have 24% of the team, which puts them as the biggest shareholder of the franchise. And so he is not the owner. The trust is the owner of the team, basically. But they have a control person. So when they have meetings with the MLB, that person goes and represents the Padres.
Yeah. So John Seidler controls the trust. The trust has majority control over the team. So if so facto, John is the control person for the team.
Yeah, and we talked about this earlier in the year when this lawsuit came out. Like, who is AJ Preller going to when he has a question about whether or not he can sign Nick Pivetta?
Yeah.
Who's he going to? Is he going to John before he was even named? I don't know. But now AJ Preller knows where he's going.
Well, remember, before anyone was named, no one was getting signed. So Preller had no idea probably who he was supposed to be going to, or at least who was going to be directing the funds to him in order to get these players. So once they sorted that out, you saw how quickly Preller got to work. Better late than never, I would say, but at least something happened.
Yes, at least something happened. I can be with you on that. Now, the one part that I don't know that needed to go in there, maybe it did. They talk about how he was a Dodgers fan for 50 something years.
Yeah, that's not
That's fine. That's fine. Well, and Chris explained it very well. Their grandpa, Walter O'Malley, massive baseball influence. I understand why they grew up a Dodgers fan because he was the guy who brought them to LA.
Yeah, root for who you want to root for. That's fine. But when you start putting in articles, when you start saying stuff that you know is going to be put in an article like "we bled blue," I can't bring myself to say beat LA. That you can bite your tongue on that kind of stuff.
No, he did.
Knowing your market.
He said that he's been a BLA Padres fan since early 2012. He just needed a nudge. That's when the family took over. And now I could say I've completed the 12-step program and I'm never going back.
Good. And that's absolutely fair. Again, root for who you want to root for. And Brandon,
it's just about to bring
you're
it up.
100%
says,
right.
I mean, Frank's a Mets fan, but roots for the Padres unless they play the Mets.
100% correct. 100% correct.
I love it when listeners call us for something.
The Padres have me for all but 7 games out of the year.
It's too many.
No, it's not. It's a week. It's a week in 6 months. Come on.
J-Max says Skraby's a 49ers fan, but we root for the Chargers. Are you kidding me? I didn't root for the Chargers. I just worked on Chargers radio, which is even better because I was in the middle of it. Reckoner said, I like Frank. He's a dork in a charming way.
That's been my whole shtick here, bud. That's you nailed it.
Dork in a charming way?
Yeah.
Oh, I always thought you were like cool guy. I didn't think you were a dork. I was like,
no, I'm a dork.
Big man on campus coming down the hallway.
That big man on campus just got done playing train sim before he got here. So yeah, dork.
Oh my gosh. You know what I talked about the other day? We're way over now. But Sam and I did the show Monday and I brought up something on the air. And when we get back, I'm going to tell you about it. It has to do with phone games. And I want to get your take on that. Plus, we're going to talk about this track and field thing. We're also going to talk about ex-athletes trashing current players. So stick around. 40 minutes or so to go, 45 minutes to go on the Skraby Show on 97.3 The Fan. Back here on the Skraby Show, 97.3 The Fan. Very sad that this is the last day that Frank and I are going to get to work together for at least now. Who knows what happens in the future? But Inside San Diego Baseball, Sam Levitt is one last show tonight, and then he is going to be packing it up and heading back home to San Diego, and he is going to be ready to go for the season. Now, games on my phone, and then we're going to talk about this track and field incident that happened in Virginia. Thank you, Frank. Games on my phone. I said this to Sam the other day. He didn't really get it. But Frank, mobile games rely heavily upon time. Like you have to wait a certain amount of time to get your prizes.
Some of them, yes.
Yeah, unless you pay. I mean,
which will never happen.
I think I've probably spent too much money on 99-cent coin refills or whatever. But here's the thing, Frank. I got to the point where I was running like 7 or 8 games at the same time, and I had an alarm for me to go check on all my free stuff. And so I would make my rounds in the games, and then I would get my free stuff, and then I would move on. I think I need help with my game addiction on my phone. Sam didn't think this was a big deal whatsoever. He was like, "Oh, I don't know anything about games."
Yeah, because Sam's not fun. That's the thing.
Shots fired.
Sam's fun is complaining about everything, but
I don't think he complains unless he's talking to me or you.
that's probably also true.
Yes,
but what you do have to stop. I mean, I have a solitaire game on here that I have a 103-day streak on. So that's one thing.
That's another thing. Day streaks.
You will never, ever, ever catch me paying for anything on a mobile phone game. Never.
But what if you're like, you need 2 coins to get this huge prize, and you have to wait 6 hours to get those coins, but you could just go pay 99 cents and get like 100 coins.
I get rid of the game.
You are a psycho.
No, I don't have time for that. Just let me play the game. Don't make me sit here and wait real time. Just let me play the game.
You were
want
saying
me
you
to
were
play
playing
the game.
Train Time? Is that what it's called?
No, train sim. And that's on the computer. That's not on my phone.
Okay, well, now you've taken it to a new level of dorktastic with playing these games on your phone. I have the train game on my phone, Frank.
You have a train game, yes.
I have. I'm looking for train. Oh, mine's Train Station.
No,
mine's Train Station 2. But in that one, I have to build different things. So I have to bring materials from other places, and then it says, "Oh, it's going to take 4 hours for your train to get to that other city."
Nope.
So then I got to wait around 4 hours waiting for it to get to that city, and then finally it does, unless I pay for it.
I will go through right now the games that I have on my phone. Cryptogram, which is you match a letter to a number. And
I think I've seen that one.
Happy Color.
Oh, I have that one too.
Infinite Word Search.
Do not have that one.
Jigsaw Puzzle. Pikmin Bloom, which is like a workout kind of thing. Solitaire. And the MLB The Show companion app where you can upload a picture of your face into the game.
Yeah, those are
the only
apps?
ones I have. Those are the only games I have, yeah.
That's insane. I don't even want to show you my game. I don't even want. I got Train Station. I got Plague Inc. is a really fun one. I got the Airport Simulator.
Okay.
Emergency HQ, which is like you have to go like put out fires and you're an emergency services person. I also have Homescapes. Have you ever used or played Homescapes before?
Yes, I have. And
I'm on level 4,784.
It's a lot of it is the ads. Like you do one thing that takes 2 seconds and you get an unskippable minute-long ad. It's like, stop, please. I am never, ever, ever, ever going to play Royal Kingdom or whatever the game is. I'm never going to play it. And every single time you show me an ad for this game, it makes me want to play it less. Stop.
I can kind of agree with you on that one. There's a couple of those commercials that are like ads in the game that are so annoying, and I can't
Yes.
stand them, and they take forever to go to clear. And there's also games that are ads every minute, every single
Yep.
minute. It's brutal. Actually, the JMax says they like Homescape. I love Homescape, but the one I'm really playing right now is called Idle Cinema Empire, which is you build a movie theater and you accumulate movies. And,
That's fair.
man, I can't believe I just talked about all this on the radio. Okay, we did it.
Let's give a breakdown of Civ 7 next week.
I haven't played it yet, but I do have Civ 6 on my phone.
It's fantastic.
Because
Fantastic game.
Civilization 6 is now owned by Netflix.
Oh, really?
And so Netflix, did you know about the games on Netflix?
No, I did not.
Oh yeah, you could play Civ from Netflix on your phone if you just go and download Civ 6.
Now that's a problem.
Yes.
That's going to take up the rest of my life.
Also, I have a bridge construction game where you have to like build different bridges over certain things. All right, I'm pretty sure
Maybe
that everyone listening just tuned out. So
say maybe this is why I'm not allowed to do your show after this week.
yeah, because we just talk about gaming the entire time. JMax says I've spent so much time playing Pokemon Go. I've done the Pokemon Go thing.
I never got into it.
Not into it. I think I told this story. I walked over to a Poke Gym, like that's a fake virtual thing,
Mhm.
and it was around here. And so I walked over, and there was like 7 people doing stuff in the Poke Gym, and I was like, I can't do this. I gotta get out of here. I'm not gonna work out with these people in the virtual Poke Gym.
I have grass I have to touch. Hold on.
Dominic says, Skraby, are you paying competitive wages with all this construction? Nope, not doing that. All right. And McKee, I think I prefer Love is Blind talk. We can do that too.
Well, you could do that.
We will. I got thoughts. Like, never mind. I'm not going to go down that road. Did you see my face for a second? I was heading towards the Love is Blind light, and I fell back.
I saw the numbers going,
and then I fell back. All right. Oh gosh, I just wasted the entire segment talking about phone games. Let's do. Let's go to break. We're just gonna have a big old long segment on the other side. We're going to talk about this track and field event. We're going to talk about athletes trashing current players. And then I have to tell you about what Lamborghini created and what they're selling now. So stick with us. 97.3 The Fan. All right. I think I'm gonna be a little serious here in this segment. Spent the last segment talking about mobile phone games and how many I play. And now I feel exposed. And I feel like too many people know what I'm doing at all times on my phone. And that's why I put it on I sometimes put it on do not disturb so that I can't see all the text messages coming in, keeping me from my games. All right, I'm moving on. Matt Skraby, Frank Marchese here, 97.3 The Fan. Sammy Lev in about 25 minutes is going to be taking over for his final show from Peoria. So don't miss it, 7 and 9 p.m. He's going to talk about all the stuff that Chris and I talked about during Gwen and Chris. He's going to, talk about what happened today with the Padres. They lost big to the Rockies. That's all you really need to know. Robert Suarez did not have a good day. Wandy Peralta did not have a good day. Gavin Sheets did drive in a run, no home runs, but at least he's still putting the bat on the ball. And Sam, also caught up with Xander Bogaerts. And so there's a lot going on with Sam, and he's going to bring you all of that a little bit, later. Now, this Virginia high school track athlete, this whole thing, I didn't even see it until yesterday, but it's been out for a while now. This happened on March 7th. So I don't know how I missed this, but her name is Alayla Everett, and she was running in one of those baton races where you have the, little scroll looking thing, and you have to pass it as you're running along. I think everybody's seen that before. This was the 4x200 meter relay. So the video is showing, and we showed the video on the show earlier, but if you want to see this, just type in Virginia high school sprinter and you'll find it. But as they're coming around the corner, it looks like she trips a little bit, Alayla Everett. But as she's coming, as her arm's coming down, she slams the baton into the back of the other runner's head. And Kaylin Tucker is the other runner. And now Alayla Everett, the one who did it, is saying that she did not mean to do this. She is falling over, and that's why it happened. And she's getting death threats. She's getting, racist comments made to her, which I think that our society is a little insane sometimes, and we need to chill out and stop sending this high school girl death threats and racist comments. That's just insane to me. But this, the person that she hit is actually saying that they had a concussion and they had a broken skull fracture. But really, the big question here is, should she be charged for assault? Because even though this is in the sport of sport, it's in, never mind. Even though this is a sporting event, you could still be held responsible for things that happen during it by the police. And so I don't actually know how you prove intent here, because the only person who knows in my mind whether or not they did this on purpose is the person who did it. And I think now that it's become a big thing, she's definitely trying to go in the route of, hey, I didn't mean it. But my thing is, I don't think you can charge her with assault because you don't know intent, Frank.
First off, I want to address, if you are sending racist or incendiary comments to a high schooler,
Thank you,
for potentially hitting somebody in the head with a baton during a high school track and field event, something that no high schooler knows is even going on, you should have your access to the internet revoked.
thank you.
Period.
With you on that.
Now to get to the matter at hand, the actual video, she doesn't look like she's falling. She is getting passed. Granted, they're running in about the same lane, so they're right on. But you can see when she's running and when she's pumping her arms, she's got, like, when she's bringing this hand back, she brings it back forward, brings it up higher than she had before, swings it down, and then just continues running.
Yeah.
She whacked her. That's it. She whacked her. She
It's
whacked
not a
her with the
mob
baton.
hit.
No,
It's not a mob hit, Frank.
she's alive. That's not what I meant.
I know. I'm just trying to make light of a very serious situation. You could say that. You can, but you cannot prove intent. You can't prove that she
You also can't
specifically did this. Now, the runner who got hit said after the fact, quote, "When we got to the curve, she kept bumping me in my arm, and when we got off the curve, I finally passed her, and that is when she hit me with the baton."
Yeah, she was trying to keep her behind. Couldn't
I
do it.
buy that.
Couldn't do it in an illegal. Couldn't do it in an illegal but passable way. So she did it in an illegal way. Period. Now you can, again, to go back to your point from before, you can get charged with a crime
Mhm.
if it's not within the realm of what the sport is. Like you can't. I mean, you can't hit people in a basketball game. Like you
Okay.
can't throw punches in a basketball game. So if that were to happen, yeah, that does open you up to criminal charges.
Did the Malice at the Palace? I don't remember. Did those guys get in police trouble?
Yes, they did.
I didn't know if it was just NBA. I was also, kind
No,
of.
they definitely did.
Okay. I didn't know. I was those days
They
were a little
were-
fuzzy for me.
They were in court for years over that.
Okay.
But you can see she comes up, she smacks her in the back of the head with the baton. You can't do that, and that's not within the realm of the sporting event, or the activity that they're doing. It's not something you do in baton racing. You don't whack somebody over the head randomly.
I know, Frank. I understand that. Dominic makes a good point, but we're also kind of putting situations out there that we don't know are true. But Dominic said, if you think you nailed someone in the head accidentally, seriously injuring them, wouldn't you at least show some remorse at the time, not just keep running?
Yeah, exactly. And she doesn't. She doesn't break stride. She just keeps going. If I accidentally hit somebody, I'd be like, oh God, I'd at least turn and be like, oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that.
I would too.
Go. But she didn't do any of that. She just swung and kept on running.
I think the hard part is that when you're running, your arms are pumping, and even though I know what it looks like, it's hard for me as a judge in the court to say you meant to do that.
If I'm rounding first base and I kick the heel of the first baseman covering the bag, I'm going to turn and go, oops, sorry. Or at least after getting to second base, I'd call timeout and be like, hey, sorry, my bad.
There you go. You're getting to second base. So she's still trying to finish the race. So you can't have any issues with that.
She didn't apologize until days after when she was pressed on it. I would have gotten to second base, called timeout, and said, oh, my bad. Sorry. Didn't mean to do that. It's
Katie said she looked like she was losing her balance, but she should have apologized. It was super weird.
Yeah, that's one of those things where if you really truly didn't mean to do it, you're going to apologize either immediately or at least show that you did something you weren't meant to do. Apologize after the race, not days later when you have a news crew in your living room interviewing you about the incident.
It is a crazy situation. And this is, I'm not a psychologist, but it seems like people are willing to do more and more crazy stuff for results.
It's your 15 minutes of fame, and you're going to get it no matter how you have to do it.
It's not the 15 minutes I want.
You're going to get it, though.
I don't want that 15 minutes of me being accused of hurting someone. I'm going to follow this because I don't think they're going to arrest her. I don't think it's going to happen. But hey, J-Max says, I agree with Frank on this. Yeah, Frank, I'm glad this is the last time we're ever working together. Everybody's agreeing with you today. I don't like it.
Skraby, you want me to? My mother just texted me, actually.
Yes.
She is level 6,124 on Homescapes.
That's an OG right there. I thought I was in the Hall of Fame of Homescapes at the 4,000 level, but 6,000 is insane. Ugh. KG says Matt Skraby, society lost the ability to discern between good and bad publicity.
Yeah,
Possibly.
And also because no one's willing to call it out.
Yeah.
And hold anyone's feet to the fire for it.
I agree. My mom's a teacher. And I hear stories about kids all the time that freak me out. Just freak me out. All right, let's move on to the next story. And this one is something I've never seen before, but Fox Sports MLB put this out at MLB on Fox on Twitter. But they have made a hat for a potential expansion team for Major League Baseball.
Okay.
They have made a hat for the Nashville Stars, which is it's one of the top cities. That Portland, I know we talked about the other night. It's one of the top cities for expansion, but new era.
It may not be an expansion either.
Oh, you mean who's going to move there?
There have been rumors that if the Rays cannot get a stadium deal, Nashville might be a place where they would look to go.
Okay. That's all fine and dandy.
They don't have a stadium technically right now, so they're going to have to do something. But
I don't know why. I don't know why this bothers me so much.
Just
when I saw this morning, it really bothered me because I'm like, you know what? This is a money grab for people in Nashville, for people who want some sort of novelty hat. I don't care about a team that's not even a thing yet. They're basically telling me this is going to happen by making this hat.
Doesn't Nashville have a minor league team? Isn't it the Nashville Sound? Isn't that? Why does that sound right?
Is that a soccer team?
No, it would be it's a minor league baseball team.
It is Nashville Sounds.
Yeah.
It is a minor league baseball team, but I don't know.
I mean, you can kind of play it off as an alternate for them.
I guess
they wore one time that one long time ago.
But this is specifically the first potential expansion team to be granted an official new era cap. But it has the logo stinks too. It's just an N and an S put over each other. I mean, how many times have we done that before?
I got my Rocket City Trash Pandas hat. I don't care.
Thank you. All right.
They can have their hat. I got my Trash Panda hat. I'm good.
The Trash Panda name is pretty good, I have to say.
It's the best minor league team in minor league baseball.
All right, real quick. The ex-athletes trashing current players. This is going to be quick because we talked about this a little bit earlier with Barry Bonds and Shaq and how Barry said Ohtani wouldn't be able to have 2 homers in a game without a pitch coming to his head. But I am all for those fun debates that they have and the era, which era was better. But each era is not comparable to other eras, in my opinion. And Shaq said Zion Williamson wasn't doing enough. And back in his day, Zion would have no shot. We don't know this.
Zion doesn't really have a shot right now because he's always hurt.
He's been playing a lot this year. Trust me, Frank. I'm on Zion watch at all times. We don't know that these guys from the past could hang with the guys in the future, and the guys in the future could hang with the guys from the past. I definitely think ex-athlete analysts are important, but I think they are an analyst for the sport that is being played today, not the sport that was being played back then. I know nostalgia is always one of the most intoxicating drugs, and that's where I think we're going wrong. I think that we are more focused on what happened back in the day than we are now. They're not paying them. I guess maybe the inside NBA guys are paid for crazy things that they say, but mostly they're paying you to be an analyst, and you're being paid to break down what's happening. Why is this team dominating? Why is this team not playing well? But they turn it into stuff about them every single time. And I'm tired of it. I think talking about history and how it relates to today is interesting, and I'm all for that. But we do not need to turn back time every single time something happens. And guess what? I'm going to be the guy screaming about this one day. And I just hope I'm not annoying about it. I'm going to be the guy screaming about back in my day in like 30 years or whatever. But it's just not. Sam just texted me. He said they're being paid to make entertaining TV, blah, blah, blah.
But
that's
be
what
fair,
I hear. Blah, 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 blah. That was a text from Sam.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but to be fair to Barry Bonds, He's not an analyst. He said it on a podcast.
Oh, you're right.
So-
I was more talking about Shaq and the inside the NBA guys, because every time it's, oh, they would never have been able to hang in our era. I don't care. And yeah, they're paid to be entertaining.
He's not wrong, but I see your point as well.
Maybe I've worked with Chris too long, because every time we talk about something, it has to go back to something that happened in the 70s or 80s. I don't know why we can't live in the moment just a little bit more. I don't know why.
Because then I'm guilty of it, and I'll throw my hand up and say that I do make a lot of Met comparisons on the show. And the reason why I do is because I'm drawing from experience that I have and comparing it to something that I know because I've lived through it. So that's probably what they're meaning to do when they compare it to their generation. That's what I'm saying.
Let me make up a situation. Anthony Edwards averages 30 points a game against the rest of the league, but he only averages 10 points a game against, I don't know, I'm just saying, a team, because they know how to stop him. I want Shaq to tell me about a situation in his career where that was it, not him saying, oh, well, back in my day we wouldn't have this sort of thing. That's not what I want to hear.
That's fair.
I want you to explain, Shaq, how you were able to turn it around against a team that you never played well against.
And that's absolutely fair. And I agree that should be the conversation. I just don't know. I don't pay attention to stuff like that. So I don't know how often it gets done, but I did see the Bonds thing. I do know it was a podcast.
It was a podcast.
I'm not sure why all of a sudden Barry Bonds is coming out of the woodwork now.
It was one podcast. No, it was one podcast they did, and a bunch of clips made it around the internet. So it makes it look like he was on a lot. Here's another text message from Sam. To be clear, this is what I hear.
You have your own show
now.
in 10 minutes.
Blah, 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 blah. Just get the people to my show. My final show.
Oh, God.
I hope everybody's ready for this waterworks that's about to happen tonight. Sammy Levitt's final Inside San Diego Baseball from Peoria and Spring Training tonight, 7 to 9 p.m. 7 to 9 p.m. I, for one, cannot wait to not listen on the way home.
I, for one, can't wait to not listen while I'm working it.
Oh, he's listening. He's listening. I'm just kidding. Every time I drive home on Wednesdays, I listen to Sammy Lev in the Inside San Diego Baseball. Let's get to this. You know what? I'm sorry, everybody. We're just not going to do Le'Veon Bell. I don't think I can force and rush a conversation about civil rape lawsuits. So
yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, and it is serious. So I want to show a little bit of respect to that. The other thing I want to bring up is Lamborghini. Told you about this. Do you know what they made, Frank?
A slower car than Ferrari?
No. They have now released $5,000 baby strollers. $5,000 baby strollers. The stroller that I'm looking at right now, and you could go to Dexerto, I think it's called, DEXERTO on Twitter. But the stroller I'm seeing right now looks pretty cool. But $5,000, people are gonna buy this too. People are gonna buy this, Frank.
Who asked for this?
No one, but they're gonna give it to you.
Why are you the way that you are?
Me?
No.
Lamborghini?
And the people that want something like this.
Because if you can afford it, no, I wouldn't even buy this, because it's a stroller. It's going to get dirty. It's going to get messed up. You don't want to pay $5,000 for it. All right.
It's just another reason why Ferrari's better.
I agree with you 100%.
What's annoying Skraby today? Let's find out. It's time for the Daily Gripe.
Strollers are already expensive as it is. Yes, they are. All right, Daily Gripe. It's more of like, I guess I'm turning back the clock right now, but as a kid who grew up in San Francisco area, listening to radio, going to bed with a radio in my bed, listening to sports talk, that's not a joke. I listened to AM radio basically my entire life, and AM radio is being phased out. It's being removed from cars. It's stations are shutting down. But San Francisco's KZAC AM radio station, formerly 560 KSFO, has gone off the air. It was the 100th anniversary of that station, and it is no longer going to be a station anymore. And they basically just cited AM radio is just not as strong as it used to be. I can't disagree. I'm very happy that we are on FM radio because that's where it's at right now. So that's my first gripe. The second gripe is something I brought up last night, but a guy at Disney World, he got off of the Splash Mountain ride. No, I know it's not Splash Mountain anymore. Tiana's Revenge or something. But they stopped the car. He got out, and all the people on the ride had to deal with them trying to get this guy back in the car for 40 minutes as they're just getting soaked. So the daily gripe is, please don't do whatever you want to do. This guy literally, I guess, got out with his kid and just started walking around the displays and was like talking to the characters and stuff. And I realized I forgot, Frank. One final
goodbye.
One final beaver nugget for us. I appreciate you, Frank. Everybody
loved every second of this, bud.
Everybody listen to Sammy Lives Inside San Diego.
Hey, it's Ben and Woods. We love San Diego, and this isn't just a sleepy tourist destination anymore. We are a baseball town, and that means year-round baseball talk.
Every weekday morning, join us from 6 to 10 a.m. on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Let's go back-to-back on the PGA Tour. I'm Joe Ostrowski here to help you beat the books with the BetMGM Network. Russell Henley cashed big for bet sweats at the API on a 44-1 ticket. At the Players, Scotty Scheffler goes for the three-peat, but we're going to keep it in the mid-range for some value with Hideki Matsuyama 33-1, Keegan Bradley 50-1, and Wyndham Clark at 66-1. I'm Joe Ostrowski from the BetMGM Network.